Oh yeah. Well, uh, so Keegan showed up. So now we have it's me, Will, Keegan, Ilo, Chris, sort of Jen. Here in or here in virtual person, but probably not going to talk at all. Okay. So yeah, I was getting started. So this was Keegan's nomination for our list for January. I kind of went into this thinking I would absolutely hate it, because I'm not big on stealth games at all. Um, and I have kind of weird feelings about the game. Where I didn't actually absolutely hate it. Um, I still am firmly of the opinion that games like this just aren't for me. But I can kind of look objectively at the game like what it wants to be and kind of like I can see that and how it wants to work, you know. And playing through it, like it wasn't like a miserable experience or anything like that. There was a few bits of when I got mildly frustrated because I guess I just didn't like the level or whatever. Like the I forget the name of that level. Look up the level list. But it was the one where you have to do the 4 targets. That's really the only one that really annoyed me.
Yeah, I concur.
Hitman 2016 level list. That's not a level list. That's the Wikipedia page. So broken into episodes.
It was the second to last episode. I think it was 5.
Freedom Fighters was the name of the level. Right. I wanted to say it was like the Revolution or some shit was the name of it. Freedom Fighters. Freedom Fighters. Close enough. That was really the only level that I found super annoying. And that's the second to last level.
Oh, so I was almost done.
You're close, yeah. You probably had like 2 hours left because each level takes around an hour. Well, it took me around an hour, I should say, for each level. Though to be fair, I think that one took me a little bit longer because it was a bit bigger of a level.
If you really, really wanted to finish it quick, I mean, especially since it's on easy when you first go through it, you could just shoot everyone.
Was it on easy? I don't think I changed difficult. I think it's
Well,
on normal for me.
you can only play on normal until you unlock hardcore and all that. I think. If I
Oh
remember
right, yeah. You have to unlock the elite assassin mode or what the fuck it's called for each level.
Yeah. I forget what it's called, but then I think there's one beyond that too.
Oh really? Elite assassin mode. Yeah, so I kind of like I have critiques of the game, but I want to start out like so after me and Will talked about it a little bit, like me and Will talked a little bit halfway through, and we kind of like Will kind of mentioned that like and this is a thing that I actually ended up kind of passing on to both Chris and Ilo. Is Will was kind of mentioning how it doesn't really feel like an action game, it feels a lot more like a puzzle game. And like after he said that, well, like I thought about it for a little bit. It definitely does play like that. So like if you take yourself out of the mindset that like you want this to be like Metal Gear Solid or Assassin's Creed or something like that in terms of like a stealth action game, I think you're really gonna have a bad time. But if you approach it more like a puzzle game or like you're in a level that's designed to have specific outcomes and like you can traverse the level and like you find details about how to get to those very specific outcomes, like I think it kind of plays to the game's strengths a bit more. Because when I was first going into it, like I was definitely thinking it was just a lot more strict version of like Metal Gear Solid or something like that, or like Thief, because like I've played Thief and like Dishonored before, and those are stealth games with a lot of options to do things. but you can't like. So this is a stealth game with like options to do stuff, but your options are a lot more narrow than they are in like a Thief game or a Dishonored or something like that, where you like your options to beat a level are actually pretty finite. There's various ones like each target has a few different ways you can kill them, and you could just go in guns blazing, sort of. Like I don't think it's always gonna work very well, but it's possible. But yeah, like the game has a finite number of ways that it wants you to beat a level and get like the best scores and stuff like that. So once I kind of started playing it like that and less like just trying to make it an action game or whatever, or trying to think of it as an action game, I started having a little bit better time with it. I think that Freedom Fighters level with the 4 targets is actually a really good example of how you should play the game, how the game wants you to play it, if that makes sense. Because I actually spent like an hour just dicking around trying to just murder everyone on the property because I was kind of checked out from the game at that point. So I was just trying to like finish up some stuff, like finish up the levels and everything. But like, I actually think I ended up having the most fun on that level. After I kind of stopped and I was like, okay, let's play the game how the game wants me to play it. Because that level, like, you end up doing a lot of different things, and it ended up being pretty cool. So I definitely think like treating the game like a puzzle game plays to the game's strength, and I actually like really think the level design is pretty good, like overall for this game, because essentially, like, if the level design was shit, like this game is all level design now. If you stop thinking of it like an action game, and like you stop thinking about it like the mechanics are all supposed to be an action game. Like the game is basically like a puzzle game and 100% level design. And like if you look at the level design of every individual level, they actually do a damn good job of that. Like all the levels I think are fairly unique and really well designed with their own like kind of individual puzzles, and with each level sort of having its own like mechanic, if that makes sense. Some some are a little bit, some are better than others. Like I think this level we're looking at right now, the hospital level, like I think it's the one that introduces sort of the most obvious sort of mechanic with the hacking stuff, but you don't even need to really do that. And there are other levels like the one called, let me see if I can, was it House Built on Sand? Yeah, so a House Built on Sand. No, that wasn't it. It was another one with 2.
Like, you're just taking out the entire studio
Yeah.
right here.
Like
what is
What?
Just killing everybody.
Oh yeah, no. Oh, so what's happening right now? So I got caught. So like in frustration, I just went on a rampage. So like if you looked earlier, like I was trying to like punch the masseuse on the stairwell so that I could like get the masseuse uniform. So I'm just running around punching everyone in the face now because I got caught. So I was like, well, screw it, let's go on a rampage. I was actually expecting to have been shot by now, but this level didn't actually have a lot of guards on this floor.
You were chasing that guy with your fist raised.
Now,
But
eventually,
the
I'm
best
gonna
part is-
get murdered right here because I just keep turning around and punching these guys and knocking them back on the floor. All those kidney shots.
The best
Yeah.
part is it has kind of an animated move where it looks like he does like a nut shot and then punch to the face, but you did it to a female character a second ago. So it just killed me. I don't,
Yeah.
cool opportunity?
So you can actually see where I actually try to go back and do it the right way here again. So I'm trying to get, so this is actually one of those options the game wants you. So I'm trying to disguise myself as the yoga instructor, and I had to turn off that valve, and so the yoga instructor's downstairs. So what I wanted to do is he limps up these stairs, and like halfway up the stairs I wanted to like punch him in the back of the head. Yeah. So here he comes. And like I'm making sure. I think I was making sure the door was closed this time. Yeah. And then I just there you go. Hit him right. Yeah. There you go. Then I take his clothes. I think I end up killing him too because I'm like I don't want anyone to wake him up. So yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like
crack.
with that angle, you punched him in the butthole or something.
Well, I punched him like the back of the leg.
Minus 5,000 penalty.
Yeah, one thing that I super didn't care about at all. I don't know why I got in that locker. But one thing I super didn't even bother with was trying to get a good score. Like me and Will joked about it a little bit, but like it was not a factor in my my playthrough at all. Like I wasn't trying to get a score. So I think half the levels my score was 0, and the other half was like it was they were pretty low score. But yeah, like I was talking about the kind of like the basic of like my original like thought was just that the game actually has like really good level design, like some pretty top notch level design if you ask me. The actual like gunplay mechanics and such, they range from passable to wow, these are awful. And like
Totally agree there.
the
I guess they don't really want the player to be shooting all that much.
yeah. So like they probably put pretty minimal effort into making the shooting mechanics feel good because they really don't. But yeah, I mean like I was saying, like the game is like 90% level design and probably like 10% let's make a competent shooting game, you know. And then the narrative is basically non-existent. You can kind of say each individual level has a little bit of a narrative to it, and there is like that's pretty cool. Like it's kind of LA Noire-esque in that I don't know if anyone actually got that reference. Have any of y'all played LA Noire?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Nope.
okay.
Nope.
Well, Keegan gets that reference. But
I really like that game.
so basically the stories are contained inside of its level. Like so each individual level has like a story that kind of revolves around the specific characters. And like if you take the time to sort of look around, like you kind of see and hear that story basically. It's a little bit more spoon fed to you in this game. But the overall arcing story, like the overall actual like narrative of the game is extremely weak. This is actually a really funny way to off her. So
Did
yeah.
you already kill the patient at this point?
No. I did him second because I did this first because she was closer to the spawn in point. Yeah, I was just doing some yoga, man. Everyone just does a little bit of yoga.
The thing that it just kind of bothered me was having played the previous games, and I think is it a new developer or something that might be the difference, but um, the all of the opportunities to kill or the ways to kill or whatever are very spoon fed, especially with like the icons to follow, like go here to come,
Mm-hmm.
to finish doing this thing. And even if you just had to get a disguise of like a doctor or whatever, it was like here's a doctor right here for you,
Mm-hmm.
um it, in the past it's always been kind of discoverable, like if you explore enough you'll discover new ways to kill this person, and like you might have done it the easiest way the first time, but you discovered, oh, this guy has an appointment here, I can disguise myself as this guy and you know kill him that way. And so I didn't enjoy the spoon feeding um, this time around, uh, because it just kind of takes away from the player. I mean, you can always, like, even if they didn't do that, you can always go online and people will be like, oh yeah, you can do this if no one ever's tried this, there's a way to do it this way. And so you can always spoil it for yourself, but I like leaving that up to the user.
That's fair.
If I'm not mistaken, though, what you're describing though is an option, right? Because you have those opportunities that you can pick in the menuing, um, but you don't have to pick them because once you pick them, that's when the spoon feeding actually begins, and it says go here or go here or go here. But if you don't pick them, you still can just aimlessly wander around, and eventually, what'll happen is that an opportunity will reveal itself, and then if you decide to follow it, then that opportunity is automatically turned on, and therefore you'll be spoon fed after the fact.
I,
It's sort of the same thing though. Like you don't have to initially like. There's some you can pick right from the menu, but like even those that you pick right from the menu, like those are generally there only after you either fail them. Like you can kind of see me going through here. That's either after you fail them or discover them is usually when those show up.
Through my gameplay, they were there, right from the start of the mission. Now,
Always?
yeah.
if you completed part of a mission, then some of them would obviously disappear because there's no need for that opportunity. You already killed the target, or you already somehow, this was my other comment that when you said that this was a puzzle game, I agree with that, but it appears to have been a puzzle game on a time limit because at some point in time, those opportunities actually come up as missed opportunities.
Well, yeah. So you like, and you can miss the opportunities for a variety of different reasons. I don't think any of the opportunities are on like a time limit. I think it's based off of like what you do or what other opportunities you start trying to track. Because like if your opportunity is to, or like if one of the opportunities wants you to like, I don't know, become a certain character or pick up a certain uniform, and you kill the guy, or like there's some way that you've ruined picking up that uniform, like the opportunity will fail. Or like if you kill a target already, obviously that opportunity fails because the target's already dead. And like there are a variety of different ways like that. I didn't run into any of them that seemed to be time based. It seemed like you could just sit around the map and kind of do whatever you want to. It all kind of seemed to be flag based, like doing one thing, set a certain number of flags, that kind of deal.
I ran
I
into
think
a
that's how.
time-based one where it was like a maintenance dude showed up, and then he fixed things, and
Oh,
then
then
left.
he would
It was
leave
like an
eventually.
external maintenance guy.
Fair enough. I didn't run into
But I
any of
mean,
those,
I
but
was with him the whole time, so I don't know if maybe that was because I was with him the whole time
that dude
that
taking shit.
I kept updating flags.
Yeah,
Uh,
same
s-
with me. Because if I'm not mistaken, when I was on the which one was it? I think it's Club 27, where you have to kill the lawyer and the artist. There
Uh,
was a opportunity where I had to infiltrate somebody's room, and I either had to find a key card, which I had no clue where to get, but then I happened to accidentally be in front of the room when someone walked into it. So I just ran right behind them, and then hid in the bathroom, just to make sure that I didn't startle them for because it did note me that I was trespassing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
But that appeared to be a time thing because once that there was a person sleeping in the room, and then the person that walked into the room.
Yeah,
Well, eventually the person leaves the room, and then Lord knows when they come back.
yeah. No, there is an actual way to get the key card though, like outside of the room, because I remember the part you're talking about. Um, but I didn't know anyone actually walked into that room. That's because I got the key card from downstairs when I did that. Um, yeah. I mean, there's probably stuff definitely like Chris said. And then like it will, I guess, if you know saw yourself that was a thing that occurred. I guess I just never personally ran into it, and like a lot of them, I was curious on like if they would expire, so I would just like putz about and do random stuff. But it didn't look
Yeah,
like
I
any.
don't think most of them do, but I think there are a couple that
Fair enough.
are at least one.
Yeah, yeah, at least one. Or at the very least, like if you follow somebody around, eventually they'll just piece the fuck out.
Yeah.
So another thing that I think they could improve on is the AI. because there's a lot of things that you do that are very strange, and they just make like meaningless comments about how strange you are and that you shouldn't be doing that, but whatever,
like
it's
like
not their life.
if you parkour over anything.
Right, if you park over anything, if you're running, if you're crouched somewhere, if you hide in a closet, they're just like, okay, weirdo. It doesn't
Yeah.
cause like a stir or anything. You can do whatever you want until you actually hurt.
The biggest example of the thing that I didn't like in this game is like poisoning drink. So you poison a drink and you leave it on a table and you hope that the random dude walks up and drinks out of that drink. You can't take it to him, you can't put it in his path, you can't like draw his attention to it. Like it's kind of the example of the thing that I don't like about this game, which is, what we were talking about. They want you to finish it in a very specific.
Yeah.
And for me, it was bad enough and frequent enough that it kind of ruined the game for me. I had trouble saying, okay, forget how I want to do it or what I think it's best. Let's do whatever the convoluted method they want us to do.
Yeah.
Or, high-powered sniper rifles from the building across the street.
Well, I mean, I can tell you that with the Club 27 one, I got fed up with that one because I tried to do like the chance method at the beginning because I found the lawyer like right at the very beginning of the mission, and I was like, well, let me see if I can kill this guy with the silencer, and I successfully did it, and to where no one can see me. Like I was hiding behind something, and I shot him in the back of the head, even while his bodyguard wasn't even looking at me, and I had no witnesses. But then the AI of the game flags me down and saying, "Oh, suspicious person found." And next thing you know, I'm haunted. And I kept trying that over and over and over. It's like if I can kill this guy, half the mission is already completed.
It's
But then that ended
actually
up.
it's actually funny you say that because so I on that particular mission I killed the Rockstar dude first, right? And then that's exactly how I killed the lawyer. I didn't follow any method or anything because like I think you can booby trap his phone and it blows up or whatever. But what I ended up doing is just waiting for him to take a phone call, just popping him in the back of the head with the silencer, and then just walking off while everyone was trying to search for the murderer.
Well, that's what I ended up doing in the long run because as soon as I killed the artist, I just happened to go downstairs. I was trying to do another opportunity to kill the lawyer. And so when I was on the way to the opportunity, I just happened to notice that he was outside by the docks. And I just thought to myself, I bet one of these boats is the escape route. So I just walked up to the dude, shot him, and then just jumped up and then jumped on a boat and left.
Yep, that's pretty much exactly what I did. There's some like there is a method to kill him that involves like that's kind of like I think one of the weak points to the puzzle game theory question mark because like that is where I was like, all right, it absolutely wants you to booby trap this guy's phone, or like apparently there's some other achievements so like where you can lure him to his room and then kill him, but like nothing, like I followed that guy around for a good 10 minutes and nothing around that guy triggered any of the opportunities to start. So then I was just like, okay, I'll just shoot the fucker, and then I shot him.
Yeah,
So-
I killed a majority of people by walking up and shooting them. You get the achievement like straight shooter. I think I got it on one of them.
So, quick question, Chance, did you never learn how to subdue? Because I noticed that you're always punching people and doing like the 1-2. Did you know that you could choke them out?
Yeah.
Oh,
Way
okay.
more fun to punch them.
You just wanted to do the whole hit him in the back of the knee and then punch him in the face.
Well, so I did subdue some people. I spent way too much time here just failing at this.
Maybe he's trying to pretend he's Saitama and he just wants to be One Punch Man.
Nah, but on this level, like people kept getting, or not this level, the previous level to this, people that I knocked out kept getting seen and then getting up, and I would get compromised. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna break all their necks. I think I subdue this guy. Maybe not. Maybe I just punch him in the mouth.
I did like one of the levels where
Standing.
Or not.
Which one was it? Yeah, I think it's a Gilded Cage. Is that the one where you're like in the middle of a town that's like under militia or not militia, martial law or something?
Well,
And you had to
you have all the protesters and everything.
yeah, well, that was the level. And one of the guys that I ended up killing was I guess it was a general or something because he was on his phone at a window.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally just pushed him through the window, and somehow magically nobody saw me.
That one was funny because like I killed some other dudes, and then some people found their bodies, but then like the general came out to look at the bodies too. So I just popped the general as he was going to look up, and then just walked the other way. So there's certainly some of these maps where like I kind of got fed up or didn't bother with any of the opportunities either. And I think that is like not playing the game, if that kind of makes sense. Because
Your
like
video feed died.
it didn't. It's loading, or I turned it off for a second to do something. Yeah, there we go. Why I don't know why it went to black. The Twitch was still loaded. It was still playing. It was just, so I'm just playing the VOD of one of my streams. Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of weird because I think like it's funny because we all kind of had like sort of different experiences with the game and sort of different perspectives with it. Because I know, so it sounds like Keegan really wanted to play the game as the stealth game that it's supposed to be, but like it was too rigid and like it wanting to be a puzzle game for Keegan, for it to be like a game that Keegan would really like. Is that kind of accurate, Keegan?
I still enjoyed it. It's still kind of classic Hitman.
Mm-hmm.
I did do a lot of the opportunity things. I felt like I just tracked it and followed it and did the
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like for the general with the protester level, I actually disguised myself as the prisoner that he was like interrogating or beating up or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I ended up just like standing up and knocking him on his ass. So that was fun.
That's yeah.
Just
One thing I did make sure I did after I beat every level is actually look at the possibilities, like the possible ways I could have killed stuff, and like some of that did seem like some of them seemed cool, like interesting. Maybe not cool is the right word, but interesting.
yeah.
I guess
Well,
I just don't have the patience for like stealth games in general, but
that's why I was wondering how you and Will would take this game. So it's
I
cool to hear
I
how you
mean
guys dealt with it.
I didn't well that kind of goes into like the ending of like how we all felt about it overall. Well, let's not get there quite yet.
Yeah. Okay. But
so
I did want to say like
go ahead.
who all did Ghost in the Machine on this last level cuz I just had to do it because
Oh, the one where you no
I
mine
didn't make it to the last level.
mine was like super on this level that's on right now, right?
yeah, with the guy that's having the heart operation.
Yeah. I didn't do that. Like I started it, but then like I got to a point where I could do something that was a lot more entertaining to me, so I did that instead. But I know the ending you're talking about. Will,
Yeah.
how did or I guess everyone that finishes this mission, how did you end up killing the patient dude?
I kept trying to kill him with the machine, and it kept resuscitating him. So I went in and shot him.
Fair. All right.
Touche.
Ilo, did you get to this mission? I don't think you did.
No, I did not.
Okay.
I can tell you what my favorite murder I did was.
Sure.
It was the one where it was pretty early on. It was the fashion show / auction going on upstairs.
Uh-huh.
I threw the chick off the balcony by distracting her with fireworks and had her land on her.
That's awesome.
It was fucking awesome. I was
Yeah.
like, all right, this game gets a plus for that right there because that was fucking hilarious.
Chris,
That's interesting.
how did you finish this level? The one that's on right now?
I didn't. If this is the last level, I wasn't. I
No,
didn't
it's
get
it's
there. I was
not.
on the
It's I don't think this is the last
This
level,
is
is
the
it?
hospital.
Oh, it is the last level, isn't it? Yeah, you're right.
yeah, because I was on Freedom Fighters, which is the next to last one.
That's right.
It's funny that Ilo mentions about the the fireworks because I distracted her with the fireworks and that got her onto the balcony. But I didn't realize that was one of my options because in order for me to get up to the balcony, I didn't know who I had to dress up as to get past her bodyguards. So I shot both of her bodyguards in the back of the head. That turned out to be non-target kills and affected my score. But then I just walked right up there and just shot her and then ran.
I drowned her in her toilet.
I shot her.
Those are the best kind of kills.
Yeah, like I disguised myself as the dude, like got a meeting with her, and like the meeting was over, and she like walked into her bathroom to like freshen up or whatever, and then I walked by and just drowned her in her toilet.
The one that was I thought was fun for me. Uh, I think it's the World of Tomorrow where you have to destroy the virus.
Yeah.
When I was actually in the place where the virus was, the only way I was able to figure something out was one, I saw that you had to basically distract both of the guys that were at the terminal of the virus because I distracted one and then tried to change do the mission, and that makes the other one go, "What the hell are you doing?" And then next thing you know, I'm in combat. But I couldn't figure out how to distract both of them until I realized that there were some lab mice that I'm guessing you had to poison them to distract one, and then go sabotage the computer to do the other. But I didn't know where to pick up any poison. So what I ended up doing was I distracted the one with the sabotage in the computer, and when he was away, subdued the other one, and I did not realize the trunk was full of acid. And just dumped the dude into the
I did the
trunk
same
of
thing.
and I was like, "Oh, great, non-target killed. Okay, there's some penalty points right there." But and then I finished the mission right after that.
That's actually kind of that one's kind of funny. So I destroyed the virus. Like I had all the stuff to distract the guys, but like me getting in there, like I wiped out basically every guard on that bottom floor. Like inside of that thing, I just ended up wiping out every one of them because like I couldn't figure out how to get inside the room, and then I got caught trying to find my way inside that room. So then I was like, "Fuck it," and I just fought my way and killed all the guards. And then like I changed into a different suit so they didn't know who I was, and then got my way into the actual hazmat area. Like distracted the two hazmat guys, didn't kill either one of them. Destroyed the virus, and then just flew out on the fucking boat ship thing.
So I could say that's one of the things I think I did enjoy about the game as far as the puzzle aspect was concerned, because even with the opportunity basically saying go here, and you're like, well, what the hell do I do? So like you said, you couldn't figure out how to get down there because there's two guards that basically don't allow you to get in there.
Mhm.
Well, I ended up finding the way you're supposed to get, or at least finding a way that you're supposed to get in there because there's a doctor at that same level, like around the corner, talking to another soldier. And it turns out what you're supposed to do is that there's a fuse box that you turn off that causes the soldier that the doctor is talking to come investigate it. Well, while the soldier's investigating the fuse box, the doctor literally goes and takes a piss like on the side of the wall in the same room. And so while the soldier is distracted, you can subdue the doctor and then change into his clothes and of course ditch the body, and then therefore go into the room without being suspicious.
Was it a doctor
Yeah,
in a
that
hazmat suit or?
No, it
that
was just a
was
regular doctor
Uh,
that allows you to get in there. So once you're in there, though,
that's
it obviously warns you that these are people that will identify you that they know you're not on the staff. So you have to obviously walk around and dodge them from
yeah.
being noticed.
I had a doctor suit when I had gotten down there too. It's just I got noticed by one of the other doctors, and I just like decided to go Rambo.
I killed those two dudes, and then I shot the guy on the table 4 times.
Lol.
Can't resuscitate
so
that.
on the mission that Chris was talking about there, that's the mission that I was starting to get towards my end of my front patience with this. So the guy who was golfing, I just got a knife and I stabbed him in the neck in front of everybody, ran away, and then got up towards the chick was and just shot all of our bodyguards and shot her and just shot my way out of the fucking house. I was just like, I'm done with this. Picked up a
Uh,
shotgun and just went fucking just out.
that's funny.
That Yeah, one thing that was frustrating for me is the fact that there's so little opportunity to take out two people at a time. You usually have to single them out. The only way that I found that you could take out two people in a room fairly efficiently is to have a throwable item like a pair of scissors or like a screwdriver or something like that, or I guess anything to knock someone out too, like a brick, and then you just aim at one guy at the other side of the room and stand by another one,
I
and
don't.
so you throw the brick and then you subdue right
Yeah.
after that.
I don't know why, but just the idea of hitting someone with a brick will never not be entertaining as fuck to me. Just like if I like just like and this game is one in particular. We're just slamming like the brick or whatever and into someone's head. It's just extremely satisfying to me. So there's a lot of times where I just took a break and just started killing people with a fucking brick.
And you carry around like 5 of those suckers.
Yeah.
I tell you one thing that I found hilarious. This goes to Keegan's comment about the AI. Was back on that same mission where you have to kill the scientist and then kill the dude before you do the virus. Is that when I killed the scientist, she says, "Come to me in an alley," and I'm like, "Oh, this is cool. You're gonna take me to a place where I know I can kill you." But she has 2 bodyguards. So when I killed her and then dumped her into a dumpster, it makes me kind of wonder, like, well, what were the 2 bodyguards doing the whole time? Like, did they just not? Were they just completely oblivious that they had no idea where the person that they were guarding went and they're gone?
And then you just walk in front of the bodyguards
Yeah.
like, later, bros.
Yeah, it's just like, okay. And
Yeah.
then even later on, because I was for some reason I started backtracking. I backtracked all the way to where I dumped the body. The body's not there anymore.
Yeah, if they find it, they will actually put it in a body bag and drag it
Yeah, and
somewhere.
drag it off.
That was another thing about the AI, because even with the I think it was the Club 27, when I killed the artist, I killed him with the damaged microphone. And so I actually was in the studio when the artist was killed, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, are they going to realize that I was the one that changed the microphone? And I stood there for a whole minute. And I'm like, nope, everything's fine.
I got the like poetic or something achievement for him because I killed him the same way he killed his girlfriend.
I tossed him over a balcony.
Yeah. I shoved him over a balcony.
Nice. Yeah, it's a little awkward whenever, because every level has multiple targets, and so you kill one, and they're like, just put them in a boggy bag and continue on as usual.
And that's
No
exactly
one really
what
nothing to
happened.
see here.
There was even a point where I watched the guy drag the body bag right past me, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me! And then like the room was not even on alert.
Dude,
Like they just
you're not a suspect. You're a famous drummer. What's his face?
No, I was a cast member.
Well, you're generic cast member 008. Like, no one cares about you. You're not even a main character.
Because I tried to do the drummer opportunity, but I could not figure out what to do. He kept doing the same repetitive pattern of walking to the bar, and then going into his little VIP lounge
Yeah.
or whatever. And I was like, okay, let me poison. There's a drink at the bar that he stands right next to. Let me poison that. He doesn't drink. He doesn't pick it up and drink it. I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do?
I ended up distracting him with a coin to walk into like an area by himself and then subdued him and stole his clothes.
That's what I did also, but there was no place to dump the body.
Yeah, there is, over the balcony.
Yeah. Oh well.
Where
yeah,
there's
into like the
where there's
courtyard.
people.
Yeah. I mean, he's naked. He doesn't have his costume anymore. No one knows who he is if he's naked.
No one ever went in that adjacent or not adjacent. The room that's right beside. Anyway.
Actually,
Yeah,
I actually don't think I dumped his body. I don't remember what I did to him. Maybe
I just left it on the carpet.
I think I did that too, actually.
That's what I at least drug it around and like hid it behind the coffee table that was in that room or something. Because I could say that's one aspect of the game that I did like, though, is that when you're being searched for, that you can like literally hide behind something. I even had a moment in the Freedom Fighters one where someone was looking for me, and I was literally playing Ring Around the Rosie. with an object that I was hiding behind until he gave up and then left.
Yeah, I mean, and it's actually funny because this all kind of like has a testament to, again, like kind of the game's strength, where like it's a puzzle game with a lot of different options for puzzles and stuff. And like this is actually kind of one of the, I'm running around right now trying to figure out how the fuck to get into this room, but it's kind of one of the things I was talking about for like all the different options and stuff like that, and it's actually really cool to hear us all talk about like, oh, the different ways we did all this other things and stuff. It's sort of the reason why I like doing this podcast and stuff now, because us figuring out different ways to do stuff is entertaining to hear about.
I do have one question.
What's up?
Jen, what was your favorite mission?
Lol.
Was it the one you did or any of the ones you didn't do?
It was the very first training mission. That was the
Nice.
only one that was
Done
I
completely.
enjoyed.
So there is probably my one complaint I think I had about the game, is that when I was doing the training mission, the first thing I started to try to tinker around with was what were the controls. And since I'm using keyboard and mouse, I obviously real quickly figured out WASD was the movement part. But there was a point in time where I accidentally crouched and did not even realize what key I hit. And there was a guy right behind me that was watching me, and he was like, "Oh, that," he literally says like, "That's some super spy shit right there." And I'm like, "Okay, how do I get back up?" So I started hitting some keys, and nothing was working. And then I went through the menu to look to see if there was any basic commands, and I didn't find any. And so after tinkering around enough with the keyboard, I found, oh, it was the C key, C crouch. Okay, fine. But other than that, it was like, okay, well, what other keys do what, other than like what you're seeing on your VOD here, is when you run into something, it tells you what key to press. But what keys actually control the character? I found that a little annoying until I eventually figured it all out, and then I was fine after that.
That's interesting. I mean, so that's a funny
Yeah.
perspective, because like, I mean, that's a perspective from like, so you haven't done a whole lot of PC gaming or gaming in general in the last like few years or whatever, but like the crouch on control or C is like a really common thing. So like,
Yeah, I didn't think
yeah, like
No.
it was just second nature to me. I do think they mentioned one time that you crouch with C, like during the first tutorial mission or whatever, but yeah, it was,
I think all it mentioned that I can recall was the control to use your instinct in order to find your target. And other than that, I don't remember it like saying anything else as far as a control mechanic for the character.
yeah, I'm honestly not sure, because it's second nature to me, so I don't pay attention to it. You know, it's interesting to
but-
hear their perspective.
But still, considering that you're on this is your training mission, right? It's supposed to be just like when we talked about last month's game, where like when you're going through the very beginning and you're trying to figure out what keys do what. And so here you are, you're literally in a training mission, but your training mission is basically how to kill somebody, not how to control your character.
Yeah, like, I swear they mentioned crouching. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I don't recall. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna go look, but I haven't uninstalled.
I do too.
I'm looking.
But I don't know anything about like, I never looked at the control scheme or anything like that. If it doesn't, like, I don't like games that don't let you rebind controls. Like, surely it lets you rebind controls. It was just hidden somewhere in the menu or whatever. I will say that the menu UI for this game is abysmal. I guess that is another thing we could add to the list. Like, the menu UI is awful.
I had went to bed early because I was sick earlier this week, late last week, and Jen texted me while I was in bed, going, "How do I close out of the game?"
Yep.
That's how abysmal this was.
Yeah.
I
The
think
menus
I
and
alt
stuff.
F4'd a couple times just because I didn't want to bother menu.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, because even when I was trying to. I remember everybody saying there's like 6 episodes. Okay, so I was like, I saw that the training episode was like one of the first things that loaded up, and so I just went through that. And then after that, I'm faced with the menu, and I'm like, okay, episodes. Where are these episodes? Can't find them. I was like, okay, then there's looks like I'm back at the training mode, except it's a different training mode, and I'm like, well, I killed the guy the same way. Did I do that right? And then now what am I supposed to do? And I kept getting lost to the point to where I eventually jumped in the Discord because Will was online. I'm like, Will, what am I supposed to do? Like, where are these episodes at? And he said, we'll just follow the campaign. And I go look at the campaign menu, and it doesn't even tell you if you, or if I recall, the campaign menu doesn't even tell you if you've already done the mission or not. You just have to select. And so I just, okay, well, I know I did these first 2 ones, so I'm going to go to the next one.
Yeah, it was not set up well.
Actually, what you just did there is something I did not like about this game. Is every time you picked up something, you automatically started wheeling.
Oh yeah, sometimes that happened.
Well, no, by default, like even if you were a guard and you picked up a gun, you're like, I don't want to be wielding a gun. People look suspicious.
Okay, so
You just put it away.
F1 gets you to objectives and map and opportunities and all that stuff. But escape, the actual like escape menu does have key bindings and all that. So I'm not a fan of like separate menus for things. Like you should be like one menu if you're pausing the game, and then you go to whatever you want from there. But
Yeah, I mean that kind of goes back to what we were talking about. It's fucking really bad UI.
Those keybinds that you're talking about, that's to change actions.
Yeah, that's what keybinds are.
yeah.
So it'll tell you like what button does what, and it'll allow you to change the buttons from one thing to another. That's pretty standard in most games in this day and age. Oh, we're getting the part where I got the fun kill on the doctor. This is really amusing. Oh, we're not quite there yet. I think maybe there's a few minutes.
How'd you kill the woman on this level, Keith?
I actually posted the guy that designed the AI, because I did Ghost in the Machine, and then right after that, the girl had like not a thing, but they had like a conversation going, and so I was able to lure her to like a balcony, and I pushed her over. It was there was some really clever dialogue in there, because he kind of jokes around and like stuff that she doesn't realize that he's a killer, but would make a lot of sense since we know that he's a killer. Anyways, it was really good dialogue. Would recommend doing that, but no one's probably gonna do it. So yeah.
I killed her with the fugu, and it was another example of just a really awkward section because like I made all the fugu, and they're like, okay, put it on this table. So I put it on the table, and you just stand there and wait.
And she walks up and eats it.
Comes by. Yeah, but the thing that made it awkward was other people would come up, look at it, and then walk away. Like,
I want y'all to watch this, just how funny it is, and just how like anticlimactic it sort of is, but like it kind of leads into how hilarious it is. So he's telling all the guards to leave because he's gonna like, I don't know, like have a science wink or something. So I'm safety saving because I'm scared. So he opens up and is like looking at the heart.
oh right.
Right. So do I actually subdue him, or does he look at something else? I don't remember.
He's covered in blood.
Yeah, he's gonna go look at. He's a surgeon. I'm just like, I open it. Look how he destroys the heart. I'm just gonna take this and throw it in the garbage. He's like, that's it. We're done.
Yeah, no, I did that on this level too.
So like anticlimactic. He's just
That's
It just grabs it
10 out
and
of 10.
throws.
The
He
fact
just
that
grabs.
he killed him without laying a hand.
It just grabs it and throws it in the garbage. Oh man.
Could you imagine if you would have missed it? Just flops on the floor. Oh wait, I got it.
I wish that would have been it. It just misses it. It's
Tries
just,
to use the shoebox lid to pick it up.
oh shit. But yeah, that was really funny to me.
And you're right off on a snowmobile,
Yep.
like a fucking spy.
Into the sunset. But yeah, I guess we'll wrap up a little bit. I'll go to my other thoughts. One of the few or in between cutscenes. So sort of my ending thoughts for the game is like I did not end up hating it, but I also kind of didn't love it. Like this would definitely not be a game that I would kind of play on my own, right? But like I didn't hate playing it. Like I have my problems with it, but most of those problems stem from just like it's not the kind of game I would play. So like I sort of don't want to fault the game for it for like my sort of personal taste for it. Like I don't think anything in the like I can't look at anything in the game other than the UI and just say like this is just bad design or like unfun stuff, right? Because I think like as a puzzle game, it's actually really good, and as a like and a game where most of the central focus and everything is almost purely based off of its level design. It is also very, very good. The story is a little weak. Like the overarching story is a little weak, and like we can see that wasn't really a focus to it. So like negative points there, we'll say.
This game had a story?
Yeah, basically. Have you ever seen any B-rate spy film where one spies are betraying other spies and stupid shit like that? Hitman, Hitman.
I'd say the Hitman movies were better.
So overall, like, I'm gonna say that I liked the game. Like my final conclusion in all of that is that like I enjoyed my time with the game. It was fairly short. I have no desire to go back and do all the like completion stuff that like somebody really into these games would do, or even somebody really into puzzle games would do. But like I did not hate my 6 to 7 hours, I forget, that I played of the game. Like I will say that I had fun as I played the game as it was meant to be played. Like other mechanics sucked, like the shooting and stuff like that, and there were some frustrations, but overall I would say I enjoyed the game.
I mean, when you clearly saw when you were just running around punching people in the kidneys and choking people and killing all the innocent bystanders. I mean, how could you not have fun?
Now, I mean, I would question the use of the term innocent there in that given scenario, because that place is like an off the books medical place where everyone there is basically like scummy rich and famous people. So
Good point.
maybe I killed some drug lords. We just didn't know they were drug lords.
Innocent to the fact of the mission.
I
Non-target
mean,
essentials.
they were definitely not mission objectives. Now, we don't know if they're innocent or not. Like, I as a person cannot make that judgment call. It is not up to me. They just had to go down. Like that's just all there is.
Clearly
to
you
it.
did. You thought they were just all guilty and went ham.
No, they were all just pieces of meat in my way. To be fair, those guys didn't actually die because I reloaded. So Oh, that's actually like the roll credits. We'll go back some.
Yeah, the old cliffhanger.
Oh, here's where I was actually trying to like shoot people. Oh wait, no, this is me actually trying to like complete the mission as you're supposed to. Where's
the Freedom Fighters.
yeah.
I also think it's kind of weird that they're making a Hitman 2 when this is supposed to be episodic. So
You mean they
think
made
would
a
just
Hitman
add
2
more
because
episodes.
Hitman 2's out.
Oh well, yeah. Fair.
I don't think this went as well as they wanted it to.
No, it did. It went really like it did really well. But yeah, so that's how I felt about the game. How were y'all feeling? And we can go down the list, I guess, and we can. Well, do you want to talk about how you felt about the game, Jen, or you just suffice to say that you only played like one level of the tutorial?
We'll just ask her an accurate question. How did you feel about the training?
Well,
How was the tutorial?
like my frustration was that there were things you could miss, like, and you had to keep redoing the level to finally get it. And I found that the help that they gave you, where they had the objective markers and everything, weren't were not clear enough and were absent half the time. Like I think it was the second thing you go through where you're supposed to try to get the guy to get on the plane so he can test out the ejector seat.
Mhm.
I was never able to get him to go on the plane, and there was absolutely nothing I could do. I ran around that entire place, a million.
Did you go up and talk to him? Because that's
Yep.
the next step. Is you walk up and you say, "Hey, we're ready for you," and then he follows you to the plane.
Yeah, I did talk to him, and he never at any point
Weird.
Oh,
had
weird.
that conversation.
You didn't say anything about how he has to go through the safety protocol? Because I think you have to dress up as one of the crew members as well.
I dressed up as a crew member. I don't think I was dressed up as a crew member when I went to talk to him, but still, that was my frustration.
Yeah.
Where was somebody to tell me that was what I was supposed to do?
That's fair.
So I ended up eventually I just killed them and left. And I was having the exact same frustration in the next level where it's the fashion show. And I found something where I was following the objective path where it was telling somebody needed their video camera fixed or something so that they could interview the guy that you're supposed to kill. And so I helped her fix her video camera, and I expected it to have an objective telling me what to do. And I kept following this lady around and followed her to the interview. There was nothing telling me what to do. So I looked it up. You're supposed to put a bomb on the video camera. But nobody told me that. And that was when I got frustrated and stopped playing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So suffice to say, your experience was frustration and didn't care for it too much.
Yeah, I would have liked it better if I had a little bit more guidance, but other people were saying there was too much guidance. So maybe
I think that's probably just the elitist in me when it comes to this game.
I just like my hand being held.
Everybody likes a little physical affection now and then.
Hey, oh.
All right, Chris. What was your overall feeling of the game?
Well, I can't say that I really much enjoyed it, considering that I was trying to just burst my way through the game, so that way I could say that I finished it for the podcast. So I do agree with Jen on some of the stuff where like I'm doing an opportunity, and I already talked about it earlier, where it's like I'm supposed to get into somebody's room, and it says I'm missing a key card, and I have no clue where to get the key card, and there's no hint towards it other than I'm doing an objective, and the objective says just get into the room. And like I said, I just happen to just randomly stumble upon someone going in there that allows me to go in there and then continue to move forward. Besides all that, the game itself, to me, I think was at least fun for the most part of the areas that I was actually trying to play the game. Until I got fed up with the level, like I mentioned on the artist one, where I killed the artist via an objective, and then I just went and shot the lawyer and left. So I feel like if I actually had time to actually play the game, And like you said, play the game the way it's meant to be played. I probably would actually enjoy it a little bit more because I do like the puzzle aspect of it. But I can probably say that I would get fed up if the objective says to go do this, but you don't realize that there's all these side objectives that allow you to get to the objective, and you have no hints on those.
Fair, yeah. I think that kind of echoes some of the stuff that other people said. So. Okay, Ilo.
I did not complete the game myself, but I would say that it definitely wasn't a bad game. I wouldn't say it's a bad game. It's just not a game for Ilo. I can see where people would enjoy it. It just I enjoy more stealth action rather than stealth puzzle. I felt like people said some of the objectives felt a little bit confusing and overwhelming. But other than that, I mean, great level design, and I can see why people would like it. Again, I wouldn't say it's a bad game, just not my cup of tea.
Fair. Okay, Keegan.
First off, I have to say I'm glad I switched to push to talk because I was just bursting out laughing watching this playthrough while everyone else was talking. Like you were just trying to scale that ledge, and the dude saw that you were there. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then you end up killing him. I totally thought you were gonna become him, anyways, and then just throwing that can or whatever the heck you hit that other guy with. I I think I enjoyed these games more on the older ones, although it's hard for me to go back to the older ones. This one was interesting. I know I say I hate the opportunity tracking and everything, but I mean, I used it, like I did it, and so, but it just the thing that it kills me is like now I know how many opportunities there are. Like it just lists them out pretty much right there. Um, but I did enjoy that. Playing the games previously, I didn't actually get to do like the unique kills and all of that. I just kind of did it however I needed to do it, and I didn't really get to enjoy, the scripted kills and everything and how they were played out. So this gives you an opportunity to go through those actions and like actually, you know, become that target that you need to be able to kill the one that you really need to kill. So that was cool. Glad I got to experience that. It's short is all my only real complaint. I don't really see the replayability and like, oh, go back and kill him again and go back and kill him again. It's like
kill him in new and
eventually you're just
creative
kind of,
ways.
Yeah. Know what they say about dead horses. So these people actually are dead. So, you're re-killing them. So I don't see the replayability, but it was enjoyable as is with the one playthrough. Yeah, cool level design, like everyone's saying. I mean, really neat stuff. Combat was terrible. Mostly, the icing on the cake is just hearing everyone's experiences and how they dealt with things.
Yeah.
I do have a question about the replayability. Did anybody attempt to do any of the, I don't know what the hell you want to call them, side distraction items? Because like there's plenty of areas where like on one mission there were like motorcycles that you could apparently tamper with. There were sinks that you can turn on and let them overflow, or whatever, anything, and it might even hint to you like, oh, you're missing a screwdriver in order to do this.
Yeah.
Did anybody do any of those, and what did they do?
It's actually funny that you mentioned that. So on every, and this is something I didn't actually notice in the game until I started like looking at the achievements and stuff. On every single level, there are actually secondary targets that you can kill, but they're not listed in like any of the objective stuff. Like they're very specific people that show up at like certain times that are secondary targets that you can choose to kill during those like missions. And there are different ways you can use to kill them as well. But the game does a poor job of pointing that out unless you like go digging through like the aforementioned terrible UI.
Yeah, you definitely have to dig for those. I think and I don't presume to know what they're thinking, but like I would say that their initial thought was like they just want you to focus on the main targets when you're first playing through, and then if you want extras, you can go back and get like the opportunity targets and all that. But as far as the like creating oil spills and like exposing wires for electrocution and stuff, that's all just kind of distraction type stuff.
Yeah.
Ways to take out like that guy, like the chance just took out to get his disguise and all that. It's just ways to distract people. Like I overflowed a sink in the bathroom on this last level, and just to get someone in the bathroom, I ended up making that bathroom like a kill zone. I killed like I don't know 7 people. And there's 2 closets. I filled up the closets and then just started putting people in the stalls. Anyways, but yeah, it's all stuff to like get people to lure them into specific.
I'm sorry. Just look how you have your hand caught.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the back of the head.
I see what King was talking about now. Just running at him with my hand up. But yeah, that's what those things are for. Chris, I'm gonna rewind.
Okay, so they are merely just for distraction. That's what I kind of thought they were. I just never attempted to use them like at all. I did use the coin toss quite a few times to distract somebody.
Yeah, coins are really useful.
Crack, ja, get you, the fist race thing.
Look at that gut punch in it.
I'm gonna
One last comment I will say.
That guy right there is in the wrong place. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
One good thing about the AI is they actually do like, and I only know this because I just recently watched a bodyguard documentary. Don't ask me why. Anyways, they do like, if you cause a scene, start shooting people basically, and then they actually go and get the target that you're after and like surround them and escort them to like a safe area, and there's bodyguards all around them. I don't know if anybody knows that, but
I did.
They actually call him the principal, and that's like an industry term for bodyguards. Is the principal is like your client.
I didn't notice that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Will, do you wanna tell us your thoughts on the game?
Sure.
Your mini review or whatever.
So, I didn't like it, but I'm kind of with you. Like, it's not exactly the game's fault I didn't like it. I don't like stealth, and I don't like being limited in what choices I can. So between the two of those, this game did not work out well for me. So I wound up just running up, shooting people a lot, just so I could be done with this game. That being said, it does do some cool stuff, and if you were the kind of person that wanted to follow some super elaborate chains to make an event happen that is a really, really simple thing to have happen in other ways, this is like, if you like Rube Goldberg machines, this is the game for it. Because instead of killing somebody, it's easier to knock out 15 other people, follow a path all the way around the building, hack everything, and then so that was frustrating for me. It's a great game to play if you want to look at examples of bad physical security. So like it should be a course in college. So I mean that's kind of my review. I didn't really enjoy it. There were some problems with it. It played well. It was smooth. The controls felt all right for what they were supposed to be. They meant for tons of replayability, and I'm not going to replay any of it. There were some really hilarious moments, which is always a plus. Like Chance Sparta kicking this lady off the balcony in the middle of her yoga session. But that wasn't enough to redeem it for me. So that's kind of my take on it.
That's fair.
I do have a question regarding your comments there, Will. You mentioned about how like you have to follow a strict guideline, I guess, to play a game or play this particular game. Uh, Generally speaking, aren't all games basically designed that way? To get from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, you will go through a rather set sequence that you don't really have any variations over.
There are definitely games like that. So
I think a so like Will is sort of talking into the vein of like the kind of genre of game that we're playing here. So there are other examples of kind of stealth action games that do the action part a lot better. Like games like Thief or Dishonored or Metal Gear Solid, or to a kind of a lesser extent, I guess, some of the newer Wolfenstein games, even though you can't, like, those aren't really stealth games, but where like
I was talking about
I was like, stealth is the focus of those games, but like they're a lot more fluid in their implementation of the stealth. Like, to see the cool stuff in this game, you sort of have to follow the very specific laid out chains of events. Where a game like Thief or Dishonored, you have a target and you have like kind of a big map, and on that map you can sort of do whatever the fuck you want to end with the death. Like there's basically less finite and less rigid ways of achieving your goal, where this game you're kind of like really locked into one kind of specific string.
right. It's kind of the difference between like a typical RPG and like D&D, where like an example, we were playing Dark Souls the other day, and there's like a 2-foot high gap that your character can't walk over because the devs don't want your character to walk over that. But so your gameplay is limited by that thing that's put there. And in a game where that's the whole point is, come up with creative ways to kill these bad guys, it feels really restrictive versus a game you're playing like Half-Life or something where, it's point A to point B. Like, there's going to be walls. The point is to get from point A to point B fairly linearly, and that's just kind of how you experience the game. So for me, something like this, where choice and creativity should be celebrated and kind of the point of how the game works, and then it not be, is jarring.
Fair enough.
That Sparta kick, so good. All right. Yeah, so this has actually been like I think this particular discussion has actually been a lot more interesting than some of our other ones, because it's a lot more mixed than some of our other opinions have been for the other games we played. So like that's kind of led to a bit more interesting discussion. And I'll also give credit to the game where like there was enough variance in how we were able to come to solutions that it also kind of created interesting conversations based off of that alone. Sort of like the Skyrim effect, where like no one kind of has the same story about like their progress through Skyrim or something like that, which may have been to a point too, like something they were going for. But
and the paths were interesting. Like when you got on the path, I mean, it was funny to do some of the stuff.
Yeah. Okay, I'm actually surprised this went as long as it did, because I didn't expect it to go this long. I expected this to be kind of, yay, we talked. But yeah, so we've already rolled for sort of, I'll say, next month's game, quote unquote. Even though you have like a month and a half to beat it, but it's actually a bit longer. It's not quite as long as Neo, but it'll be a bit longer game, so I guess it's a good thing that everyone has a bit more time to play it. So that being said, and if you want to finish Hitman, like, by all means finish Hitman. Like there's no,
that's what
like,
I was gonna try to do, especially now that I know that I'm on the next to last level.
Yeah, there's no like rigid rules or anything to it. But so the next game on the list so I'll actually go ahead and give everyone the list for the next 3 months. Now I'll say the podcasts unless like we like kind of decide otherwise, like we kind of did this time. Like the podcast, we're still going to try to stick to like end of the month or closer towards the end of the month. But Hitman was so short that we were just kind of itching to go to something else. So into February, for the February game will be Sword Art Online: A Fatal Bullet. It's actually $20 right now on Humble Bundle, or not Humble Bundle, but on Humble.com.
I linked it.
You did? Okay, cool. You can get the DLC for another $10 on top of that. The main story will take you like 20 to 30-ish hours to beat. And if you decide to do the DLC, which I think we're having a good enough time with it that we may, the DLC supposedly adds like an extra 10 to 15 hours on top of that. So how much of that you want to complete, totally up to you. But it's a longer game, so it's probably good that we have more time to do it. It's not quite as long as Neo was, for those of us that actually beat Neo, I suppose. I think Neo took me like 4. Actually, to be fair, if I do all the DLC and stuff, it might be close to how much time I spent on Neo. There's that. But yeah, so Sword Art
On the multiplayer stuff too.
yeah, to be fair, yeah, it might depend on how much fun we're having with the multiplayer. So yeah, Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet is Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet, so I don't mumble it all out like a derp. Is February's game. The game for month after February, March is it was Sundered, right? Yeah, so the game on after that for March is going to be Sundered. It's an indie roguelite game. I don't know if it's on sale anywhere. I haven't looked.
I'm looking.
Yeah, and I'll put links and stuff into the Game Club Discord channel. But so March is going to be Sundered. And the only edition now you can buy is Eldritch Edition, but it just is basically like the completed game. And then for April, it'll be Nier Automata, which I think some people are actually really looking forward to. And
Good game.
and in February, there's going to be like a kind of not really a remastered edition of the game, but more like a package, like a big bundle of like the DLC and some extra stuff that's going to come out in like mid-February for that game. I don't know if there's any current sales or anything for it right now.
There are not.
Yeah. But I'll link all those and sort of like I'll go ahead and actually put all those schedules on Gilded too. And